welcome to this video where we're going to look at how we can utilise paragraph styles and character styles to improve our workflow and create better looking text that's easy to format and pages that are easy to edit. So let's get started. First of all, I'm using Adobe InDesign 19.2, that's the 2024 version. And I've already got a document open on the screen, and you can see by looking at this that I've already formatted this page with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns. Now I do this because I use these columns as the basis of a grid. Okay, so I've got my document on here, and you can see at the bottom of the screen it says I have one error. That's just referring to the fact that I've got overset text. So there's more text in this document than you can actually see. If I click on this frame, you can see that there's a little box here, and it's got my text flowing onwards. So if I'm just going to delete this frame, and then we'll see this little box here now isn't an arrow. I've got this like red checkbox with a plus in there. So I've just got this text. It's very, very plain, and at the moment I'm using the Essentials workspace, and I'm going to change that because I always like to work in Essentials Classic when I'm making my videos, because if we all use the same workspace, everything turns up exactly where you anticipate it to be. Now, I am using a slightly expanded screen. That's because it just shows up better on video. I don't normally work like Mr. Magoo. So here we go. So you can see here now that I've switched my workspace to Essentials Classic. You can see I've got my tools down the side here, and I have this status bar across the top. Now the status bar changes depending on which tool I have selected. So if I click on this frame and I choose the text tool, you can see everything across the top here is to do with text. So what we're going to do is we're going to start setting up some paragraph styles, and I'm going to show you how I work, because I found this to be the best way forward, and I'll explain to you as I go why I'm doing certain things. Now the very first thing I do is I set up a style for my body copy. Okay, so that's the basis of most of the text that's going to appear on the page, and to do this I'm going to just style everything the same way to begin with. So I'm going to just use Control A or Command A, depending on whether you're using a PC or a Mac. And you can see here my text is all selected, including the stuff you can't see. So first things first, I need to choose a typeface for my body copy. Now I've already been into my Adobe fonts, so that's fonts.adobe.com, and I've activated the fonts that I think are going to work for me, and I've activated some serif typefaces, and I've activated some sans serif faces. And the best way to see them is to come up here on my my bar at the top here where it currently says Minion Pro, and if I click on here you can see I'm only looking at my Adobe Cloud fonts. So that's all these here. They've got a little cloud with a tick to say that they've been activated, and I'm going to look for the kinds of typeface that will work as body copy. Now, for those of you who don't come from a graphic design or a design background, this can be a bit of a minefield, and people think, oh, I'll go for something a little bit quirky, a little bit different. That's actually a mistake. What we're looking for is typefaces that allow for easy reading. Okay, that's the goal here. We want to be able to read things easily. Now I have certain favorites, things that I like. I do like sans serif typeface. One of my favorites is Acumen Pro Condensed, and you can see where it says 18 here, that's that's a lot of variation. Okay, so this one is quite a useful one to use. We've got tons of others. I just need to put that back on, otherwise I'm going to see other things that I don't want. We've got some quirky things, even this all-round Gothic, which is a sans serif typeface. It's no good for body copy, it just doesn't look right. Okay, so you're looking for things that have got certain characteristics. I like the double-decker A, okay, rather than this kind of single-decker A. So I'm going to be looking for things or typefaces that have that as a feature. I might want to search for something very specific, so I can switch my filters on here. I might just want to use this filter where I'm only looking for sans serif typefaces. They're the ones without those little flicky bits, and this is a serif filter, so that would only show me serif typefaces. So I'm going to look for both as I go through this, but I'm going to make my body copy sans serif. So I've just selected this. Now I might want to look for other properties. It's a body, it's going to be body copy that I'm styling up. So I don't want anything that's overly heavy. So I don't want heavyweight versions of the typeface or font, but regular weight or even lightweight might do. I actually quite like lighter weight typefaces, so I might just switch that on for now. I also quite like things that are a little condensed, okay, not too condensed but a little bit condensed, but I don't want to narrow things down too much at this stage. Okay, so I'll stick with that and then I'll have a little look and see what it's offering up. Now I quite like this one, Bebas New, so this has got 6 versions, 6 different variations, light italic, semi-expanded. I don't like the expanded versions so much, so I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to have a little mosey down here. Future is nice as all caps, but I don't like the single decker A. So let's carry on. I'm going to have a look at Myriad. Let's have a look at this. I'm not sure there's enough variation there for me. Let's just have a little look at this one here. This is called Griffith's Gothic Condensed. So I'm going to go with this one, I think. Just for now. I can change my mind later on if I want to. I'm also going to just adjust the size down a little. Now, body copy should really be anywhere between 8 points and 11 points. I wouldn't go much bigger than that, unless it's a large print thing that you're trying to design. I think I'm going to go for about 10 point for now. I might change my mind to go a little smaller later, but right now I think 9 point is fine. And then at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the type menu and I'm going to look for where it says character and paragraph styles here. Don't get mixed up with where it says character and paragraph up here, all right? What we're trying to do is create some styles that we can utilize over and over again. So I'm just going to open up paragraph styles and it's opened here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag these and drop them here. Okay, so now they're docked with my other panels. And I'm just going to open up my paragraph styles. And you can see it says basic paragraph. And it's got a little plus next to it. That's because I've made some adjustments already to that basic paragraph, but I'm not going to leave it there. what I'm going to do while my text is all selected, I'm going to just click down here and create a new style. And you can see it's called Paragraph Style 1. I'm just going to double click on it, like so, and I'm going to give this a name, and I'm going to call it Body General Para. Now the reason I put the word para after the end of my paragraph styles is because I am inclined to get mixed up sometimes when I'm very busy between paragraph styles and character styles, and it just gives me a little reminder why certain things behave in a certain way if I put the word para in there. Now, this is going to be the basis of a lot of other styles to come, all right? So this one I need to remember. This is a significant style. So it's called Body General Para. And here it says it's based on no paragraph style, and the next style says same style. Well, that's completely understandable. This is our very first paragraph style that we've set up, so there's nothing to base it on and there's nothing else to follow it. But that's going to change as time goes on when we've made more styles. So if I go to basic character formats now, you can see there's the typeface that I picked and the font style. Now I could take this down a little lighter, okay? So I've now got it set up as light. I could change the size if I wanted. I think I'm going to stick with 10 point for the time being. I'm also going to add some space after each paragraph. So every time I use a carriage return, that's to end a paragraph, I'm going to add a little bit of space. Now what some people do is they'll put 2 carriage returns in. So they'll hit return on their keyboard twice, and it gives a big piece of space, okay? That's very clumsy and it's very kind of word processing in its feel. We're trying to create something that's more typographically pleasing. So I just want a little bit of space between each of my paragraphs. Okay, so I'm just going to add maybe 1.5 mil between each paragraph. And you can see here it says space between paragraphs using the same style. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to make this 0.5. So if it's using the same style, it has a slightly smaller gap between. I'm also going to change something else. I have an absolute horror of hyphenation, so I'm going to remove hyphenation. Now I can do this because you can see if I come here, you can see my alignment. It says aligned to the left. That means all the characters are, all the lines are nice and neat on the left hand edge, and they are ragged on the right. It used to be called back in the day ragged right, or aligned left. If we use justification, that's where it's neat on both sides. So it's neat on the left and neat on the right. Not having hyphenation is not really an option. You get all sorts of crazy things happening. Okay, but I can take my hyphenation off if I'm using left alignment. Okay, so I'm just going to click on hyphenation and turn this off. Okay, and it stops us breaking up words with hyphens. Okay, and I think that's going to be pretty much all I'm going to do with this first style. So I'm just going to click OK, and you can see now that I've got this style set up. I've got my original basic paragraph, and now I have Body General Para. And because I had all the text selected as I did this, that style has been applied to absolutely everything. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on this text, and you can see here that I've got these bullet points, and I've got these things where it says create a parent page from scratch and create a parent page from existing pages. They're going to become headings, but I'm going to start creating some different paragraph styles by selecting this little bulleted piece of text here. And I'm going to just click down here and add a brand new paragraph style, and I'm going to select it. So this straight away has got a different style to the rest of the text. It's now in this paragraph style 1, and if I double click on here I can change its name, and I'm going to call it body with bullets para. Okay, and it's going to be exactly the same as the rest of the body general paragraph style, but I'm going to come here where it says bullets and numbering, and you can see it says list type, and I'm just going to choose bullets. Okay, and then I can control the position of how I want this to look. Okay, so I can have a left indent. Let's see what this does. Okay, so I don't know if you can just see there, it's nudged this in 5mm, and then first line indent. Okay, and because there was already a tab in place, I'm going to just delete that. So now if I were to use this style and I was just to type using this paragraph style, I would just hit return and it would create a new bullet for me. Okay, so I can delete this and delete this like so. Select these 3 lines and choose body with bullets para, and there we go. And I can do the same thing here. I could make a new style with numbers, but I don't really need to. I'm just going to have these bulleted, I think. So I'm just taking these numbers out. Okay, and I can carry on going through my document. Now that that style's made, I can add it whenever I like. I'm now going to make a little subheading. You can see where it says creating parent pages and create a parent page from scratch. These are 2 little headings. So I'm just going to put my cursor on this paragraph here, and I'm going to make a new style. Again, it's called paragraph style 1, so I'm just going to double click on this, and I'm going to call it subhead small. You could call it subhead 2, you could call it whatever you wanted. As long as they've got sensible names, it'll be fine. Now you can see it's based on body general para. Now I'm not sure I want it to be based on body general para, because I might start having a few issues with that. So I'm just going to choose no paragraph style, and I'm going to change some things. I'm going to leave it in this typeface, but I'm going to change the font style to bold. Okay, I can see what that looks like just here. You can see if it's not bold enough, I could go to black. I might even decide that I want it to be in all caps. So you can see here it says case, and I can change that from normal case to all caps. So it looks like this. Okay, the other thing I might do with this, I might want those little subheads to be in colour, in a different colour. So I'm going to put these in this kind of dark blue. And then I'm going to just have a little play with the indents and spacing here. You can see I've still got 1.5 millimeters of space. I'm just going to change that. I'm going to take it down to 0.5 because I want it to look like it belongs with the paragraph that follows it, like so. But I'm going to add a little bit of space. I'm going to put 1 millimeter of space before that that style. So there we go. That's what that looks like now. I think I'm done. I just need to double check hyphenation. I do not want hyphenation on my headings. That would be really bad. I think I'm done. So I'm going to click OK. So now I've got this style here, subhead small. And you can see this is another place where it says how to use parent pages. I think that's going to be in a different style actually. So I'm going to, where it says create a parent page from scratch is going to go in that style. And create a parent page from existing pages, subhead small. Basing one parent page on another. Okay, so another one in there. And that will do for now. So that's what my document looks like so far. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some other headlines. Now I've got where it says Adobe InDesign. I want this to kind of be a big statement headline. So I'm going to select it. Now I don't really know how this is going to look, and it's much easier to do this change locally and then make a style sheet from those local changes. So I'm going to do this from here. Now this time I'm going to choose a different typeface. I think I'm going to use, I think I'll go for a serif typeface, and let's see what that gives us. So I think I'm going to use something like Baskerville. If I can just get this, whoops. I think I might have other filters on. There we go. I don't want that on. There we go. So just be aware, you need to make sure that the right filters are switched on and off. So here we've got two different Baskervilles here. These are both on Adobe's font website. I'm going to use this one. This is Baskerville URW. They're just the foundries that have created the font. They're very similar, but they're not identical. Now that brings me to another point. If you are doing work with other people, make sure that you're using the same cut for the typeface, okay? So don't just say, oh, it's Baskerville. Make sure that you're using the same version, because there will be slight differences in size and they won't be exactly the same. And believe me, from a distance, you can tell. So you can see here that I've got quite a lot of variation in this typeface. So this is going to be my my heading. So I'm going to use, I think, a bold version of this. So I'm going to go with Baskerville bold. I'm going to make it quite a bit bigger. Okay, and you can see that's quite a statement piece. I'm also going to just change some things here. You can see over here it says horizontal scale. Now I can do all these things from my paragraph styles panel here, but I want you to know that it can be done up here as well. So I can change this. Now what that will do is it kind of squishes the typeface in a little. And I happen to know that you can do this quite nicely with typefaces like Baskerville and Garamond and what have you, and they look quite good. Just don't overdo it, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm part way there with this. I'm going to make a new style. So I'm going to create a new style, double click, give it a name. This is going to be called main headline. Okay, para, because it's a paragraph style. I don't want it to be based on my body copy, so again, no paragraph style. And I just want to check some stuff. So we've got size and leading, all that kind of stuff. I'll explain to you what leading is in just a moment. And then where it says advanced character formats, this is where we can change our horizontal scale, which is just what we were looking at. And I'm just going to take this down to 80%. So it looks like this. There we go. So that's what that looks like now. I need to double check that hyphenation is still not switched on, which is great. Okay. And then I'm going to click OK. All right. Now you can see here that this is a little bit close, but I'm going to style where it says how to use parent pages, which is what all these little subheads are about. So I'm just going to style this one up, and again I'm going to use Baskerville. I'm sticking with the same cut. I'm going to use a regular italic for this. I'm going to take the size up again. Something like that. I wonder if there's a, no, regular italic it'll have to be. Okay, and again you can see this is very, very tight to the line below. If I just zoom in on this, you can actually see that descender of the G cutting into the word below. All right, so I really need to do something about this. So I'm going to make a style sheet. Okay, and I'm going to call this one subhead, or I could call it heading actually, because I've got a headline and then I can have a heading 1. There we are. And I'm going to, I could change the amount of leading that I've got. Okay, but rather than do that, I'm just going to add some space after. Now at the moment I've got 1.5 mil, and you can see straight away that it's pulled this out a little bit, but I need more space than that, so I'm going to push that away even further. So that's what this looks like. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad, maybe a bit too much. 5 mil, 4 mil. So I've just pushed that away 4 millimeters. It's quite handy if you want to preview what you're doing. Make sure you've got this little preview checked and you can see how this looks live. Okay, so I'm okay with that just at the moment. So now I've got my heading, I've got my headline, main headline para. I should have called that heading 1 para, shouldn't I? So let's just go back and change its name. If you do misname things, it's very easy just to go in and just change the name. So I've got subhead small, that should be subhead small para. You'll also notice, because I've got a piece of text selected, it's busy changing things. So this is going to be heading para. There we are, like that. So where have I got to? Okay, so in here I've got another thing where it says Adobe inDesign, so I'm going to put that in my main headline again. And then how to create a paragraph style is going to go in the same style as how to use parent pages, which is my heading 1 para. Okay, and now you can see I've got a headline on a page with no copy. Okay, that's pretty bad. So I need to start making this page look a little bit more designed. And the first thing we need to do is add some columns, because it's very, very difficult to read text that goes across the full width of the page like this. So let's sort this out. So I've selected this frame with the text in it, and I'm going to make some columns. So I'm going to go to my text frame options. So I'm going to Object, Text Frame Options. Now ordinarily I'd be able to see this on my bar at the top, but because I'm using an expanded view, I haven't got enough distance across here, so I can't see it. So I'm going to Text Frame Options, and I'm going to add in some columns. Okay, so I'm going to use I think just 2 columns, I think will probably do, maybe 3 columns. But you're probably thinking, that looks dreadful, that looks really bad. And the reason it looks so awful is because these styles that I've created are just too big to sit in those columns. But that's not really how I want it to look. And what some people would do at this point is they'd start cutting those headings out and chopping up the box and just generally making things very difficult for themselves. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we can handle those styles. Now, the first thing I've done is I've deselected all my type, so I haven't got anything selected. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my main headline, and I'm just going to double click on here. I'm just going to change this to para. And then if I just come down here, you can see something called span columns. So I'm going to select this, and you can see it says paragraph layout, single column, and I'm going to change that to span columns. Okay. And then I can click OK, and then I'm going to do the same thing for my heading 1 para. So I'm going to do the same thing, span columns like so, and I'm spanning all of them. And then lo and behold, you can see how this now looks. I've got my headline, and then I've got these 3 columns that run underneath that piece of text. And it's very simple to see how this page reads. You read this title, then you read this subtitle, and then you read this column of text to here, and then here, and then here, and then this is a separate story. You get that straight away. What I want to draw your attention to though is we've got this heading here all on its own. Okay, this is not good. This is not good typography. We don't have a heading and then the text that belongs with it starting on another column. So how do we stop that from happening? Well, it's really simple. All we have to do, again, making sure you've got nothing selected, all you need to know is what this style is called, and it was called subhead small para. So I'm just going to double click on this style. Okay, and then we've got this little function here, which is called keep options. Okay, so if I go to this, I can then ask it to keep with the next 2 lines. Okay, and straight away you can see it's pushed that headline over to make it stay with the copy in the following paragraph. All right, so this is already starting to look much better. Let's see how we can go on. Well, I've already got some pages in my document, and you can see we've got this big, or it might be little in your case, I've expanded everything up so it's big. This little red box here. Now if I click on this, so I just clicked on it twice, and now you can see I've got a loaded cursor, and I'm just going to position this on my page, my new page, and I'm going to drag this out. Okay. And then we can zoom in and begin to style this up. So you can see this here is going to go in my body with bullets paragraph style. And then we've got this here, it says NB. Now this is something that I want people to be able to pick out nice and easily. I'm just going to put some columns on this frame. So I'm going to go to my text frame options again, and we're going to add 3 columns. And I'm going to select this piece of text. Whoops, missed. And I'm going to, you can see it's in body general para. So I'm going to click this, and I do want this to be based on body general para. The only difference I want is I need it to be a slightly heavier weight. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the font style to bold. Okay, and if that's not bold enough, that's okay. Now I've made it, I didn't change its name. I'm just going to call it body bold para, and I'm just going to make it a little bit heavier. So I'm going to go for black. Okay, so it's got a bit more weight to it. I'm not quite sure. The reason this piece of text is broken away from this one is because I've got a column break or a page break between them. So I could get rid of that. So I'm just going to position my cursor here and just hit backspace to make the text flow better. Okay, so I'm just going to select all that text there that's numbered, and I'm going to choose body with bullets again. I just need to remove those numbers. So the text was put together using Word. So some of these things have, oops, a daisy. And that shouldn't be in that style. That needs to be in the body bold para. So I'm just going to put that in there because it's a top tip. There we are. Now I could have these set up as page numbers, and then if I just put a carriage return in there, here's one of my Adobe InDesign things which goes in that main headline paragraph style, and then how to create paragraph styles based on other paragraph styles goes in I think, there we are. Like so. So you can see now that the text is coming along. Again, there's my main headline, how to create a drop cap character style. So that's going to go in my heading style. And then I'm going to remove these numbers. And put that in my body with bullets. And then the NB and the top tip are going to go in my bold body paragraph. And then I'm going to add some columns. So I'm going to go to Object, Text Frame Options, and Add. So let's see how this looks so far. Okay, so what I would do with this is I might shorten this frame up and force this onto another page, or I could put a page break in to make sure it stays on another page. So what I'm going to do at the end of this piece of text, I'm going to put my insertion point here, and then I'm going to go to type and insert a break character. Okay, so I can choose what kind of break character I'm going to put in. You can see I can add a column break or a frame break, or I can actually put a page break in, which is what I want to do with this. So I'm going to put page break, and then it will force this text onto another page. Now I've got some stray characters here. You can see I've got a carriage return because I've got this funny bullet. If you're unsure what you're looking at, if you go to the type menu and choose show hidden characters, you can see these kind of back to front P's. That's a carriage return you're looking at. So I'm just going to highlight that and delete it. Okay. And on here, you can see I've got the words column wide. Okay. That's what we call an orphan. It's kind of gone on ahead of the rest of its paragraph, which we don't want, but we'll sort that out in just a little while. I want to just have a look at the rest of the text. That's okay. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to shorten this frame down so I don't end up with this empty column. So if I push this down, and if I push it down quite slowly, I can see the text flow. If you move too fast, like there, oh, no, it actually did it for me. There we go. No, it's working beautifully today. If you move too fast, sometimes you don't actually see the text flow. So I wanted to make sure that that flowed correctly. Now I've got some space above here to add images or a graph or a chart or something, or I could push this up to here, and then I can add my my images down here if I choose, or I could switch this frame to work in two columns. So I go to Object and Text Frame Options and make it two columns, and then I could pull that down and push it inwards. Now I'm still going to use the grid behind, so I've lined this frame up like so, and then I can just push this up a little. Maybe that's it. There we go. So I've got the space around here, depending on what kind of images you've got. So you've got quite a degree of flexibility here. Okay, or I could just leave it in two columns and push that up. Okay, like so. So you've got that flexibility and you can move your text around. If everything's in separate boxes, things get really difficult very, very quickly. So this is much more simple to manipulate. Okay. So with this one, I might think, well, I've got this odd piece of text here. That doesn't look great. So how can I handle this? Well, what I'm going to do with this is, again, I'm going to put a page break in at the end of this text. So again, type, insert page break, and then change how this looks by just pushing this down like so, and then I've got room for a huge picture up here. Again, get rid of that carriage return. Okay, and I think I've got another page break in here somewhere. Okay, so I'm just going to remove that page break by putting my carriage return there and backspace. Just need to change that style, so that needs to be main headline. There we are. Okay, and that fits on that page quite nicely. In fact, I've got a little bit of room down here, so I could still potentially fit all that. There we are, with a little space up at the top there. Okay, and then if you change your mind about how you want these styles to look, you decide it's not the typeface for you, you don't particularly like this Griffith Gothic, that's not easy to say, is it? Condensed. I could change that, and if I just changed it on my body general para, the styles that are based on it will also change. So let's just see that in action. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on the text so you can see those different styles. So we've got this style here, and then we've got this style here, which is based on our body general para. And we've also got a bold version somewhere. There we are. In fact, we'll look at it here. So let's see what happens if I change body general para. So I make sure I've got nothing selected. So I'm just going to deselect everything, and I'm going to click on body general para, and I'm going to choose a different typeface. So this time I'm going to choose something like Acumen. So I'm going to go with Acumen Pro Condensed. Okay. And I'm going to click OK and see what that's done for us. Okay, and you can see that the typeface is consistent. I've just got a little bit pushed over here, so I'm just going to pull this up. There we are. There we are. So that was nice and easy. Now there was a couple of things that I mentioned before where we had text being pushed onto lines all by themselves. So for example, this line here where it says this parent spread or choose none, that belongs down here. Now rather than fiddle around where you're doing this kind of thing all the time, what you can do with this particular style is this one, body with bullets para, but I also want it to apply to all the body copy styles. So I'm going to change body general para. So I'm just going to make sure I've got nothing selected, go to body general para, and I'm going to go to my keep options, and I'm going to ask it to keep all the lines in a paragraph together, or at least 2 lines. Okay, so you never have a single line on its own. I'm always going to have 2 lines together. So I'm going to click OK, and you can see straight away that I've now got 2 lines up here and not 1, which is much better. Okay, so that in a nutshell is how we use our paragraph styles, and you can see how you can base one style on another, and once they're set up, how much easier your life is when it comes to rearranging a page. Okay, so even this, I've got text being forced over there, so let's just pull that back. There we go. Much easier, and also far simpler to keep a grip on where your type's gone, because something like that piece of text gets pushed out of a box and you'd never know. whereas this way you'll keep complete control over all your text at all times. Okay, so I hope you found that useful, and you'll join me again in the next video.